The Flash, episode 2, Fastest Man Alive. Definitely a good episode. It was the real touching episode. It was really cool to watch Barry. Really, Barry was just like down in the dumps in this episode. It started off really simple, like he was having his little issues, which they found a simple solution. Which I actually really enjoyed because one thing that comes with people who have super speed is always that their body continues to move super fast. So you have to have a lot more food than you would expect. And I thought that was really cool that it was actually the focus of why he was having an issue, at least in the beginning of this episode. It was a purely physical problem because he just wasn't getting enough food. And I thought it's cool that they actually made that an issue where it's like, oh yeah, we should probably learn about the simple science of his actual body. We have to make sure he gets enough food in his system, otherwise he'll drop dead because his body is working through so many calories like it's nothing. So I thought that was a really cool way to start this episode. It was really cool that that was his actual issue, and it just addressed the fact that he has the high metabolism, which they do in pretty much anything with anyone with super speed. But typically, it's just like, well, I got the super speed, and then they just show one episode like they're just eating a bunch of stuff. But it was really cool that that was the issue in the beginning. I also love the fact that we got to see Barry do a little bit of his actual work where he was looking at the shoes and stuff, and they do the digital stuff like what he sees, and it's just really cool that they have that. And I love that in every episode. I hope we get to see a lot more of that in future episodes where it's like him as the Flash. He can't solve the issue because it's just a crime that he just can't seem to find. It's not a superhero. Maybe it's a regular person, and he just can't find them because it's not like someone who can multiply 5 times or someone who's trying to kill someone super super famous or something like that, which I'm sure we'll get at some point. But I like when he does that because we get to see what he sees and we get to see him be really smart. And it's like, I can look at these shoe prints and guess what size it is, and then he'll say something really silly like, "Oh, just the same size as you," and then mess things up. But I really enjoyed the episode. It was a cool development based episode. We got to see the team kind of come together in the end, and Barry realized he's not the only person on the team. He's, as he said, we were all struck by the lightning, so that was really cool. We got to learn a lot more. We got to see a lot of flashbacks of him living his life, trying to see his dad, and dealing with this sort of new family dynamics that he had with his sort of new father and I guess sort of new sister. But it was a really good episode. I enjoyed it. It was great that it touched on the emotional side of things because it went from the physical aspect of, hey, you just need to eat more food, to the more emotional side of things where he needed the confidence of the father he did have because he couldn't get that sort of same push from the father who he wasn't able to live with. So I really loved that. Of course, the ending was really interesting to see what the heck the guy was going to do, like him standing up out of the chair. And it was just, I hope they do that in every episode. That would be really, really cool if it's just like the last minute or 2 minutes is just him doing something else random that involves saving Barry for whatever reason. And in this episode, I actually thought about Young Justice. And for anyone who hadn't seen that, there's a character named Impulse who goes back in time, and his entire purpose of going back in time is to keep Barry Allen alive. And it made me think of that because it seems like that's what he's doing in this series. Like, he went back in time because he wants to save Barry. I don't know if it's for a good reason because he just really likes that the Flash is a great superhero, or if it's for an evil reason and it's like, I'm going to keep you alive for as long as I can because when we get to this point in the future, I'm going to do this and I need you to, I'm going to take over your mind or something weird like that, and then just have you kill a bunch of random people that I need dead or something crazy. But he's a villain. He's keeping them safe, so he's in that weird neutral area because he's keeping this giant secret. So I don't know, but I really enjoyed that ending section. The fight that Barry actually had with the guy who was cool, whose cool name is Multiplex, which I thought was really cool. The fight was definitely interesting. The way they decided to parallel Barry's story with his story, like, hey, the weakness you had is a normal human weakness, even with powers. You have to do certain things, and so does he. So making all these clones, it's gonna have a stress on him. So that was really cool, and that's how we found him out. And just going through, and we actually got his backstory, which was actually pretty touching in the end, because it's like he wasn't just mad that the guy, stole his basically everything from him. It was that he lost his wife, and it was just really cool. But unfortunately, after he lost to Barry, which was done in a really cool way when he was putting out all the clones and Barry was just shooting through to try to find him. That was really cool, and I'm surprised he didn't like kill the guy by ramming him into the beam at super speeds, but he kind of gave up once he lost. He decided to kill himself. So I don't know if they'll play it where he actually did escape. I don't. I think Barry would have seen that it would have been a scene where it's like, oh, he came out of his own body and took off, because Barry was really right there. He was already leaning over the thing, so we couldn't have missed that. But he killed himself off, and it was just a really great fight. It was a great episode. Like, all the elements I think were really well done in this episode, and of course we got to see a little bit more about Barry kind of dealing with the fact that he is in love with his best friend, who is unfortunately with someone else right now, and he has to keep that secret as well as his own secret about loving her, as well as the third secret about him, of course, being the Flash. But I enjoyed the episode. Really excited for next week. Just more supervillains. I'm really, really excited for like the regular supervillains that are going to be coming in, Captain Cold, as well as some of the regular superheroes that are going to be coming in. I can't wait to see that happen, because it'll be cool to see multiple superheroes as well as multiple supervillains in one episode. So I'm excited for that. But this was definitely a great episode. I think it was actually better than the first episode. I hadn't seen it since it leaked a long time ago, but I do remember everything that happened, and that was the first episode. So it was just explaining everything and giving us the sense of the show. And this one carried that on, and it went right for the dramatic impact that they couldn't really add in the very first episode because they were introducing the character. So I thought it was a great second episode. I'm really excited for episode 3. Of course, comment below, let me know what you guys thought about this one, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and what do you guys want to see out of this series. I don't think I asked that in my super old review, and plus that was months ago anyway. So what do you guys want to see out of this series? They're adding in a lot of superheroes as well as supervillains, and even Arrow's adding in some superheroes now in this season, or in that season I should say. So what do you guys want to see in season 1 of Flash? What heroes, what villains, what storylines really? Because it's following one set storyline, but they can take sort of creative freedoms and kind of drop in little bits and pieces of other storylines as well. So what do you guys want to see from this season? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.